Compound Podcast. This is episode 251. 251 of the Compound Podcast presented by Parse Rum, our friends at Parse. We're going to give you Benny's location of the week, and we're going to Champaign. We're going down to Champaign, Illinois, 802 West Town Center Boulevard. Okay, that's Champaign, Illinois, 61822. 802 West Town Center Boulevard, Champaign. Go to that Benny's, get your Parse, send us a photo. Black box, red box. When we were just in Japan, our friend Pat Powers, Parse was out there. It was good to see him. We were talking Parse. I love Parse. You love Parse. When I say Parse, you say Rum Parse.
Rum.
Go to Wins. Go to Benny's, get your Parse.
Smoke.
Send us a photo. We just got back from Japan. I just want to say, episode 250, very well done. Very well done. The clip on Twitter with Zach not even remotely looking at the camera was absolutely incredible. Scotty rambling. It was just perfect.
It's the classic, like anytime we'd have Scott on or throwing back to when Zach was hosting, like Scott would just say stuff and was just in his funny joke around mood. And Zach just wasn't about it and was just getting mad at anything Scott said. And it was just a lot of them yelling at each other and me and Tom laughing for the most part. But it was great having them on. Scott came with some topics. Really, none of them had to do with baseball. Scott and Zach got very heated about condiments. You should have been there, Ian, just to be a part of it. But it was a legit, like, heated debate about it.
Scott introduces his topics like nobody else, where he'll just be like, Cavs Thunder. And then that's just then we're just supposed to pick up from there. I was interested to see how the episode would play, and we got a lot of very nice feedback on Scott and Zach's performances, which I appreciated. It was a difficult edit. I'll just say this, people. It was an hour and 20 minutes unedited, so the hour and 6 that we got it down to, there was a lot left on the cutting room floor that also could have been in the episode, but we had to make some editorial decisions.
Well, Scott reads his topics. Like, if I come with topics, like, I'll just take notes and I'll, like, put down something simple like that, like Cavs Thunder. But then, like, as I say it, I'll explain a little more and give a little more info. Scott just goes, so Cavs Thunder. And then he just looks at you and you're like, is that it? That's all you're going to do? Okay. Yeah. They're two basketball teams. Nice.
Just want you guys to run with it. Just open. It's just very open-ended moderator.
Ian would have been miserable last week because it was just, I can't even say controlled chaos, just full-blown chaos for
just off the rails
most of the episode. Well, we talked baseball for like
us on the rails, and the rails immediately descended into a canyon and exploded. Like there was no chance.
We did talk pre-show, Ian, and we said, like, we'll talk baseball for like 15, 20 minutes. And then Tom's like, and then I'll let you guys go. And Scott was ready for that. And we just kind of ran wild after that.
Is Scott the soy sauce one? Scott's the soy sauce.
He said it's the most underrated. And me and Zach's rebuttal was like, it's fine, but like you're using it for sushi. Like, what else do you really? He's like, oh, I put it on like chicken, and that was really all he said. And I was like, okay, so 2 things you can use it for. It's like, it tastes fine, but like, I don't know if it's underrated. It's perfectly rated. It's good for what it's meant for.
Have you ever done soy sauce and wasabi on a steak?
I have not.
Well, Japanese wasabi is different than American wasabi. It's just better because it's real wasabi root and they grind it. I don't think the wasabi root is allowed to come back to the US. I might be wrong on that. Heard that when I was over there. The real wasabi with some soy sauce on a steak is a special thing. It's a really special thing. I would recommend it to a friend.
I would 100% eat that. Can't say I've ever even had wasabi. Might be a little out of my price range, but it sounds delicious.
You've never had wasabi at a sushi place? You've never had wasabi one time in your life?
I don't think so.
This is like tuna tartar territory for me.
No.
I feel like my only knowledge of wasabi comes from the movie Cars 2, where Tow Mater's eating a lot of wasabi and having a bad time. That's the beginning and end of my knowledge of wasabi.
Stop it, guys.
I don't think I've ever had it.
At any point in your life,
no.
You've never had wasabi.
All right, well, let's just do this. At some point this summer, I'll come down to Chicago. Tom is going to be in Chicago, and then we'll go there, and you'll get us wasabi. Okay, fine. Deal. You can buy us wasabi. Okay. Thank you.
That's a deal. That's a deal. I'd like to introduce you both to wasabi.
That's just a date I'm pulling out of my head. Maybe May 31st.
May 31st. Could be a great time for it.
Yeah, could be a good day.
What's May 31st, Ian?
It's a day in May at the end of it, which something or may be happening that we aren't going to talk about yet, but might possibly be going on.
I didn't know if we were talking about it or not. I forgot what we said, but we're going to keep this all in, Tom. Yes, we are. Keep the people guessing. They'll never know what it is.
Yep, absolutely not.
One other quick programming note at the top before we get into Japan.
Wait, Tom. Tom. I'm on it. Okay. I'm on it. We talked about it before. I'm on it. I didn't forget. Okay. Definitely didn't forget. You can find the episodes on YouTube. Okay. Marquee Sports Network YouTube channel. They're also on Marquee Sports Network on the TV. Okay. They're on TV if you have Marquee Sports Network. If you don't, just go to YouTube, Marquee Sports Network YouTube
Friday
channel.
mornings.
Friday mornings, we're on there. Okay. So if you want to see the video episode, those are the two places you can go. There's been a little bit of confusion out there.
There's a playlist on the side. You can go to the playlist. It has all the old episodes as well in case you missed any. That's where all the video episodes will live, coming out Friday mornings on the Marquee YouTube channel. So if you're missing the video, they're still out there. You can still watch it, and we encourage you to do so. So you can see all of Dakota's great reactions.
That's right.
And if you're bored, you just go on there and you just like, subscribe, comment on the video, and then like it again, and comment some more on the YouTube videos.
Yeah, if you got some free time and you got nothing else going on, why not?
Yeah, have a cup of coffee Friday morning and just like, subscribe, comment to all the videos. Thanks. Japan.
Yes. I have my first question.
Yes.
How was the flight?
The flight was not bad. We flew.
How long is the flight from there? Did you connect or is it straight out of Phoenix?
Yeah, we flew from Phoenix into Tokyo. On the way there, I believe it was like 11, a little over 11.
Real quick, the fact that I just asked if you connected, what a rookie question by me.
Yeah,
What
it's
is
all right.
this? What is
all
this? The miners
You
connecting
didn't mean
flights?
that.
That was
Yeah, you
crazy. As soon as I said it, I go, what a dumb question.
They had a little layover in Honolulu for 6
Yeah,
hours.
yeah.
Ian went to Cinnabon.
I will say the flight over, the plan was to like, all right, sleep for a couple hours, stay awake because we took off. When we took off in Arizona, it was like 8 a.m. Tokyo time. We arrived in Tokyo at like, I don't know, 11:30, and we got to the hotel by like 1. So 1 a.m. So we were trying to stay awake the best we could. I stayed awake for a little while, went to watch a movie, made it through like an hour of the movie, died. It was like, oh God, passed out. And then like I could not. It was like I was just a battle from then on in. I was like 2 hours. Like woke up. I was like, yeah, stay awake. I was like, boom, back out. Gotta stay awake. Boom. So I slept a little bit too much on the way there. Still was tired when I got in. Yeah, jet lag is a real thing. You know, waking up at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, wide awake, trying to sleep until like 5 or 6. By the end of the trip, like sleeping until 6 o'clock was a real accomplishment.
Yeah, you would be texting, like me and Zach would text you and Zach's like, I really hope you're not sleeping. Like he would preface it like, I hope I'm not waking you up with this text.
Yeah, easily could have just like, there's an app on your phone, the clock app. Like you could do the world timer, world clock. You could put Tokyo in there. You could check. But you know,
But then he may have forgot his question and then you wouldn't get gotten to converse with your friends. So you're welcome.
Yeah, good point. We did text while I was out there, which was great.
Yeah. We were checking in on you, seeing how everything was going.
Yeah, appreciated that. Yeah, and then on the way back, it was like 9:15, 9:20 on the way back, something like that.
That's not bad. That's not too bad.
No, we were flying with the wind on the way back.
Was there much like card playing going on the way back? More so, I guess either way. But like, was there like hanging out, or was it more kind of like everyone was just like trying to deal with how long that flight is?
Yeah, there was a little bit of hanging out early, and then probably an hour or two into the flight, it was like everybody was just surviving, trying to do their best, whether it's TV shows or spouses run the plane too. So
Oh, that's right.
girlfriend or wife or whatever there, which is nice.
And then you said the hotel there, very, very nice hotel.
Hotel was great. They took awesome care of us. Stayed at the Peninsula in Tokyo, in a really cool area, actually not that far from where we stayed for our honeymoon. So knew the area well, and it was just the staff was super accommodating. Like we had a room for breakfast, which was really nice to be able to like have breakfast there every day and not have to like worry about that. Had some of the best coffee of my life. Unbelievable coffee shop. That was like a 15-minute walk.
In Tokyo, not where I would have guessed.
Some of the best. It was electric. X coffee.
Since you were there for your honeymoon, were you telling everyone like, hey, I know these streets, like I'll tell you guys where to go?
I was more of a local than Saya.
Yeah.
I was telling people, yeah. Saya lives 30 minutes outside the city, like 30 minutes from the hotel, which is like not that far outside the city, but like he's so famous there, dude. Like he definitely goes out to eat in Tokyo from time to time, but I don't think it's a ton. Like didn't feel like it was like a ton.
So you were basically like, I got you guys. Like you were like,
Yeah,
say,
I'm giving you the rundown. Yeah, it was like I'm a native. I'll let you know.
Do you think the Seiya and Shota, and I mean Shohei's a different universe really, but like, do you think their popularity going out in Tokyo is crazier, or like Rizzo and KB and like 16 going out to dinner in Chicago? Like, which one do you think is crazier?
That's a really good. I think that's a good comp. Like I think the superstars of the 16 team in Chicago, like it might even be more for those guys for say and Shota. I think just because the city's so big, you might be able to blend in a hair. But like I mean, I'll just say from our experience there, like they knew that we were there and we were there to play baseball. So like if you're walking to get coffee, like you had people going a couple blocks with you for autographs. Like we had some people follow us to a dinner, like jump out of a taxi behind us and like wait 2 hours outside the restaurant for autographs. Like they love baseball, man. They love baseball. They're super respectful and like really nice, but they love baseball.
That's what I was going to say. No knock on Americans, but I feel like they're probably a lot more respectful about like your privacy and like your personal space than some fans may be at times in America, where they're kind of like hounding you and you're like, dude, I'm just trying to have dinner with my wife right now. Like, can you give me a chance to just eat dinner with my wife? I feel like over there, they kind of get that side of things of like, we'll wait for the appropriate time to ask.
Yeah, the restaurants are so small too. Like no one was ever going to come into like an establishment, but yeah, I mean, they loved it. I mean, it was amazing. I had my aunt and uncle were there, and so they were kind of doing a vacation at the same time and like parlayed it into being in Tokyo during the games with my two cousins, and they had a tour guide in Kyoto, and you could get on the wait list to watch practice. We had 2 practice days, and there was like 15, 20,000 fans at practice. And if you had a Japanese phone number, you could get on the list to get to. It was like a lottery. So their tour guide got them on the list. The text back was like, you're 80,000th in line. Like there was like 85,000 people on the wait list for practice.
That's crazy.
Just crazy.
To watch you guys take PFPs where you get line drives hit into a net.
Yeah, exactly. The Tokyo Dome was a really cool experience. We Ubered a couple of times to the field and like kind of got out where there's a hotel there and like a kind of almost an amusement park, but there's like a hotel and like a lot of shops around the Tokyo Dome. So we got out and kind of like walked in, and like every day there was thousands, tens of thousands of people just outside the Tokyo Dome hanging out. And like, I don't even know if they were going to get in. They were just like there.
How was the practices with like people watching? Like, was it weird?
No, I mean, it was definitely every day was chaotic. Like every day,
yeah.
Whether it was just the amount of media that was there, it felt like, like from that aspect, like the playoffs, how there's just like, there's so much media all over the place, but then you had Japanese and American media. So there was just people all over the place. There was people all behind, the turtle and behind in foul territory. And the practices were pretty, like everything was pretty condensed because both teams had to practice. So like, if we had a 1 p.m. practice, you would get there at like, the first bus was at like 10, you get there like 10:30 or 11, and like you're doing a bunch of stuff to get ready to then practice at 1, out of there by 3, because then the Dodgers had to come in after and do their stuff. And that's how the exhibition games were too. So like they had to flip the locker rooms. So like as soon as we played the noon game the first day, so like we played the noon game, as soon as the game was over, we had to be out so that they could take all of our stuff out of the locker room and the Dodgers could come into our locker room. And so it was just like the night game, the 7 o'clock game. I think the bus was at 3:45. The whole team went on one bus at 3:45, got in there, and then you were just like full go to get ready for the game, play the exhibition game, and get out, which is pretty crazy. But
how were the exhibition games? Like, did you end up playing 9 in both or no? I saw you did in one of them.
I played like 7 in the first one and then 9 in the second one. The exhibition games were cool because for the fans, for the exhibition games, like they had chants for their team. Mm-hmm. So like they're very loud for their team. And so when we were on defense, it was just like constant, like drums and like noise. And then when we would hit, it was like dead silent.
Except would they cheer for like Seiya?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, there's big cheers for Seiya every time you came up, but like they didn't cheer like throughout the at bat. They kind of would like one big cheer and then they would just like watch.
Yeah.
And the outfield was like sometimes standing and like in it, but then like everything kind of that wasn't the outfield, like all of the back bowl was just like seated the whole time, which was pretty interesting. I think they were just trying to be like super respectful of our game and weren't exactly like sure what to do, which was interesting. And so that during the Dodgers games, it was kind of like that, where they like, it was eerie when like right before the pitch, it would get like dead silent.
Yeah.
Which was really eerie. We played our pitchers through our baseballs, the big league baseballs. Mm-hmm. And their pitchers through the Japanese baseballs.
How were those?
Japanese baseballs don't fly very far.
Oh, the overhit, Tom. The overhit. He finally got to it. Last week, Zach was saying, I think it was either Zach or Scott. They were like, Zach. I think it was Zach. He's like, I got over under 5 minutes into the pod before Ian brings up how dead the baseballs are over there.
Took me
Made it like
15.
16 minutes. That was pretty good, Ian. I
Hey,
was impressed.
it's impressive.
It is like,
But they're like
tiny.
noticeably different, right? Like way
Noticeable.
less flight.
Yeah. I mean, they're a tiny bit smaller, but they're pre-tacked and so they're really white, but they're just like, they don't go. And so we were taking BP with them the first practice, and like you're squaring balls up and they're going like 5 rows deep.
And you're like, what? You're like, I felt like I got that. What just happened?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, say I hit a ball like 110 that like went like 330 feet or something. Like it was
What
funny.
is you said they're pre-tacked. What is the other difference? Like, I feel like smaller, wouldn't that make them go far? Like, are they tight? Like, are the seams bigger?
Seams are slightly bigger, but they're just like they're a fraction smaller. Seams are slightly bigger and they're pre-tacked. Like that's the difference. I just think they're not wound as tight. It's funny. We're playing those games and like first team, the Tigers, they got both us and the Dodgers. Put them in the big leagues. Put them in the big leagues tomorrow. They did it.
I mean, I was kind of hoping that for whatever reason, when you guys played the Dodgers, you would also use those balls just to see it. But obviously, that would make no sense.
That would be horrible. Yeah, the Hanshin Tigers got both of us. But it was interesting just because the timing is so different there. Like the pitchers, the Japanese pitchers, just their motions with like higher leg kicks and like pausing at the top. Like it's a very different timing than you would have on an American pitcher or big league pitcher for the most part. So that part was a little bit challenging. A lot of good splitters, a lot of good off speed stuff, and like I faced one dude throwing like 96, 97 with a splitter, and like hadn't even pitched in Japan yet. He was like 22 maybe, like hadn't pitched professionally in Japan yet, but like
you're like, we'll see you in a couple of years.
Yeah, it was like you got some good stuff.
That's an interesting note because Zach talked about it last week too. How much does that mess with you as a hitter? Like Zach said, the like slower leg kick to like mixing in a slide step from time to time, all that like different timing. Like, was that a big adjustment for you facing the Tigers?
Yeah. I mean, for the 2 exhibition games, it was just like it was a very different feel. And we actually faced in the second game against the Tokyo team. The Giants. We saw an American starter, lefty American starter. I think I was thinking about it as like what a cool experience and just trying to take it in and like try to get your bats and like gauge the backdrop and like get a feel for timing in there because it is a little bit different. It's like kind of like being in the Trop, like the lighting's a little different and you're in a dome and all that stuff. So just trying to like use it to get ready and be on your feet for 9 innings and not really worry about the results.
Yeah, for sure. And then you had how many days off before you played that? 2 days?
So we had off day. We had off day, full off day. Mm-hmm. We had a workout. Then we played exhibition. Then we had a workout day, and then 2 against the Dodgers.
Okay. So how many days were you there total?
7.
So a full week.
You mentioned it before, but did you say by the end the body adjusted at all, or was 6 as late as you were sleeping? It got a little better by the time it was game time for Dodgers.
Got a little better, yeah. Like the last night, like I went to bed at, we had our game, so we went to bed at like, I don't know, 11 or 12 and woke up at 8 and was like, yeah.
There we go. We're good.
I'm there. And then we immediately flew back after the game and like woke up at 4 a.m. like ready to go.
What time?
Back in Arizona.
This is another one where I could just have checked the world clock, like you said. What time were the games locally for you? Because they were like 6:10 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah, they were.
Were they night games, I'm assuming?
The first exhibition was noon. Second exhibition was 7. And then the 2 games against the Dodgers were 7 local.
Nice. So you had plenty of time throughout the day.
Yeah, plenty of time throughout the day. I thought the noon game was going to be way easier just because of like, it would be like a relatively normal time at home. But the noon game was tough. And the night games were actually not as hard.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, was it weird opening? Because normally opening day like is a day game. Was it weird opening at 7 o'clock, especially if you're getting up at 8 a.m.? That's a lot of time to wait around to be like, all right, we're playing opening day, like to get fired up for it.
Yeah, I mean, there was just so much going on. I think having those exhibition games was really nice because you kind of got into the groove of like going to the field, doing all that stuff. And then we had each of the games, we had like a ceremony before. So like, how opening day, you'll have like the lineups get announced and you do the whole thing. Yeah. Well, we had that all 4 games. So we had like each of the exhibition games, like the whole like 6:45 announcement. And then for the 2 Dodgers games, they did like a whole spectacle with like lights turned off for like 6 minutes and like they were doing all kinds of stuff. You had both anthems like getting announced. They had like the second game, they had like drummers on the field and all kinds of stuff, smoke machines, the first games. Every game, which I think kind of sped things up because you get there, you take batting practice, whatever. And then like you got to be ready for like that instead of like getting out there at 6:45 to stretch, like we were out there by 6:30 stretching and doing stuff because there was 6:45 like the whole thing. So I think that kind of sped it up a little bit the day.
How sick was it opening that first game? Shohei versus Shota.
Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, obviously Shohei is such a massive figure over there. Like they love Shota, they love Seiya, but like Shohei's different level. And they were fired up for Yamamoto too. Like the fans were. Yamamoto was warming up when I was out there stretching at like 6:30, and he's throwing like basically from like the right center field wall to the foul line, like on a line, like hitting the guy in the chest. And like the whole stadium was just like, oh, just like watching. Like every time he would throw, it was like, whoa. So like they were really locked in on him. But yeah, just Shohei getting announced like to lead off. People were excited. Like it was just, that was probably the coolest. Just the atmosphere was. I think that Shohei hit that homer. It was a big deal. And then we walked somebody. Shohei was up fourth the last inning and finally, I think, got a bat in the top of the ninth. And so him coming up for that last at bat, like when the hitter went up 3-0 in the count and they could feel that he might get walked to like get Shohei up, that it was the loudest roar maybe that we heard the whole time, which was cool.
They're like, give us one more. I mean,
it was 80% Dodger fans at least, and you know it was just like it was all Dodgers there.
See, but is it like Dodgers fans, or is it just like you said, Shohei's the biggest star, so they were just like more Shohei?
I think mostly that. I think mostly Shohei. You know, they also have Yamamoto and Roki, and so like there's 3 big time Japanese players in that team. But I think Shohei I think he's converted a lot of.
Yeah, fair.
And Dodgers have a pretty long history of guys coming over, Nomo and other, and of Japanese players playing for them too.
We also had, it was just cool in the exhibition game. This did not happen in the regular season games, but in the exhibition games, like some of the fans had like signs out there. Like the one group of fans had like a Happ sign that was like they were holding up like HAPP like in a row, which I thought was like unbelievable. I got the camera, I got like our photographer, and I was like, you got to get a picture of that. That's like the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
That's
like
sick.
The fans in left.
You try to get him a ball or anything? You try to give him anything?
It was hard because there's another thing in the Tokyo Dome. There's a section, the netting, right? Like you'd have at a normal stadium to protect fans from foul balls. Like the netting goes around like it normally would in the States, but in front of the netting on both sides, you have a section where all the fans get helmets and gloves. They pass out helmets and gloves. So they're all sitting there in helmets and gloves to protect themselves. And so you have to get it like past those fans up over a net to like get to the other fans. And the people with the sign were sitting like a little too close to the net to actually like drop one in. But yeah, it's crazy. They hand out helmets and gloves for this. Like it's a pretty large section of fans that are like right on the field. And so there's no netting and they could just wear a foul ball at 100 miles an hour, but they have helmets and gloves.
That's crazy.
I want like the Myrtle Beach Pelicans or one of the Cubs affiliates to start doing that. Like have a section where it's like you come sign a waiver liability and come sit in this section with the helmets and gloves. Let's get going.
Did any of the infielders mention like, because I think in Toronto even is it turf to dirt, like how it's all turf on the infield in the Tokyo Dome, right? Like did they mention how like if that was different or made it better, if anything, probably easier, like you're not going to get any squirrely hops?
Yeah, I don't think there's a big league stadium like that anymore.
I don't think so.
But I don't play infield anymore. I just graze in the pasture. But it was a fast surface. I mean, it was very true, but it was fast. So I think the infielders definitely. I mean, they did a good job with just how quick the surface was and everything. You know, we played good defense in the infield. But it was a quick surface. And Dansby made. I'm sure you saw that replay, like 360 replay of Dansby, that diving play.
Was that a real video?
It's like they do like it's amazing technology. I don't get it, but like.
I can't wrap my mind around it. I don't know.
They triangulate all the cameras and make this like crazy video. And you know what the funniest part was? Like they could do that, but like we didn't have side angles on the video. So like you would go hit and like you just basically had like the game feed and like I want to see a side angle of myself hitting because like I'm fouling balls off. But that didn't exist. But then after the game we have these like 360 videos. And
that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
What are we doing? Yeah.
Did you get a chance to talk to or like communicate with any of the guys on the Japanese teams in those exhibition games? Like when you went to first, did the first baseman say anything to you? Was
not a ton. We did like a hat exchange right before the game. So like I exchanged with the leadoff hitter. Like one of the leadoff hitters was one of the leadoff hitters was number 8. So I was like, number 8, nice. But then like when I got on base in one of the exhibition games, I was just like running around, just like I think I got all the way to third, and like every infielder, I'd be like, "What kind of glove are you using?" Because they all had like just like very different. So like Zet and like Mizuno and like all these different kind of one guy had a third baseman at Rawlings, but they're all like very different, like the way that they're made. I've always been fascinated with that. Like the Japanese gloves are just like Seiya has one, and like it's just a different Rawlings. So I was just asking everybody about their gloves. That was like the extent of my communication with them. Was I was running around the bases.
You're like, hey, can I have that? Like, I'd love that glove.
Yeah, Rawlings gave me one of their like they did like a glove for the Tokyo series and like kind of did a bunch of stuff to it. It was really cool, but it feels so different than like a normal Rawlings you would have.
Not a gamer for you.
Yeah, it's same feel glove, so I'm not going to be using that one. So
Never know. Never
it's a
know.
showpiece. It's a showpiece for me.
You already got 3 gold ones out and left. Let's go and get you a gold on the infield. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
First
Easy.
baseman.
Yeah.
What would you say outside of the games was like your favorite part of Tokyo? Obviously, like I said, you went there for your honeymoon, but like, did you go anywhere cool? Or we already talked about how you're bougie and you had wasabi and it's great for you. Me and Tom have never had it, can't afford it, but we're gonna have it this summer with you. But what was your favorite part?
Good question.
Thank you.
I think one of my favorite parts was seeing everybody else experience Tokyo. And like obviously Julie and I had like an amazing experience on our honeymoon and like we would recommend it to anybody as a vacation. But to see the other guys like embrace and really enjoy Tokyo was special. The dinner, we did a couple of dinners that were really cool, but we had a one like team with 2 team parties. So Seiya and Shota threw a party for us the first night, which was really, really cool. It's really special, really nice of them
That's
to
awesome.
do. The Ricketts, Mr. Ricketts, had a party at the U.S. Embassy, which was really cool. Like the U.S. Embassy there has a ton of tradition. It's a really special building. And so that was like a really, really cool thing to get to do. They had a bunch of like food set up and like fun things set up for people to do. And so that was a really cool one to be able to go to the U.S. Embassy in Tokyo and like see that, which not a lot of people get to do.
Oh, that's sick.
We were talking about this last week in the show, that contrasting this to the London trip, obviously that's so condensed and it's in the middle of the season. Did this have kind of a different feel because it is before the start of the season? You guys were able to kind of do more stuff because it wasn't like, hey, you're coming over for 72 hours and you have to play 2 games and we're just gonna, as I mean, obviously as you said, it was a blur, but it was, I'm sure it had like a little bit different of a vibe than compared to London.
Yeah, I mean, this was so much better. I think it just was logistics were better. Getting to the airport, like the traffic, like in London, the traffic with the buses going to the field was a disaster. Like it was so hard. It was like an hour and a half on the bus every day, back and forth. This was just way easier to navigate. Like it was 20 minutes to the Tokyo Dome. We were in a good place to walk around and see things. Ubers there were really easy. So like all of that was easy. I also think getting to play the exhibition games, getting a week to acclimate, and then getting a week on the way back to acclimate before opening day. And then we're not losing off days. We're actually gaining 2 off days during the season, which kind of makes the rest of the season a tiny bit easier for us, as opposed to when we did London. Not only are you jet lagged playing games, coming back jet lagged, but we had 3 off days to play 2 games for that series. So it condensed the rest of the season, which made things a little bit harder. So I think this trip, just as a player, was a once in a lifetime experience, as London was, but just playing part of it and acclimating part of it was easier.
You've been pretty lucky to be a part of a lot of those like specialty game or like series that the MLB has done. What was the other? Because you did London, yeah, Field of Dreams
and Little League World Series.
Yeah.
What year did you do Little League World Series?
19. Yeah, Cubbies have been really lucky as MLB has started to do more of these things, that we've participated in a lot of them. And so, yeah, I think they've all been special in their own way, but this was really tough to beat, like a kind of a once in a lifetime.
And like you said, the way they went about it of doing it, like obviously it's weird of like you played 2 games, you come back and then you have a couple spring training games and like everyone else is kind of just now finishing up spring training. Like the scheduling of it's kind of weird, but I feel like you said it's the best way to do it, of you get to actually go and have the experience and not be like, all right, you're flying here, you're playing 2 games and you're flying right back home. And then you have a game in Chicago the very next day and you're going to feel horrible for it. Like it's a lot, but I think it was worth it in the end.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was definitely worth it. Obviously we would have wanted to come out of there with a win or 2, and like starting the season 0-2 is a little bit of a challenge. And I think our April schedule is going to be tough. I think our challenge now is to get everybody reacclimated and kind of get going again. And like, everybody, all the other teams right now are like excited for opening day. like we've had this crazy experience, and now we have an opportunity to get ourselves like going again for the domestic opening day. The Cubbies are the team of opening days this year. We had 4 ceremonies in Tokyo, and then now we have Diamondbacks opening day on Thursday. We have Sacramento A's opening day on don't laugh. It's not funny.
Sunday, Monday, Monday,
on
probably.
Monday, and then we have Cubby opening day on, I believe, the following Friday.
I'll be honest. I know we've talked about it. I think the Sacramento one's going to be kind of cool.
Dude, I think it's going to be awesome. Everyone's like, what do you think about Sacramento? What do you think about, like, I got asked about it the other yesterday or Tuesday. I'm like, it's going to be great. There's going to be 15,000 people. Like, the tickets are sold out. It's going to be a packed stadium with 15,000 people. They're going to be super excited to have Major League Baseball there. Like, it's going to be a great atmosphere. Like, if you went to, I'm not Nico Horner's from Oakland. I love Oakland. I'm an Oakland guy. Okay,
I could
love
tell
Oakland.
you were trying to dance around this.
Love Oakland. I'm an Oakland guy. But if you're in the Coliseum, like we went 2 years ago, you're in the Coliseum playing a 1:00 game, and it's like kids' school day, and there's 3,000 people in a 55,000 person stadium. Like, that atmosphere wasn't great.
You feel like you're back in Kane County on a noon game with Kids Day.
Yeah, like that atmosphere was not awesome. It was tough, like having that big of a stadium where the upper bowl's closed, like you have just the lower bowl and there's only 5,000 people there. Like having 15,000 in a sold out stadium is going to be a great atmosphere. Like, I'm excited for it. We're lucky we get to be there before it gets super hot. Like, yeah, we played in Sacramento when we were together. Like,
I like Sacramento, the city too. I think it's actually, I thought it was
sneaky.
Cool.
And like, are we going to like have to walk out of left field from the locker room? Like, sure.
But who cares?
That's not big league, but like, that's okay. Like, I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. I think people are underestimating how that's going to be like a better place to play than what was previously going on.
And
if there's a time to go to Sacramento, though, it is probably opening day. That'll be the most the fans are into. Last night, the Oakland Roots, who are a second-tier soccer team, played at the Coliseum and sold it out. They had sold it out for a soccer-specific stadium, so 26,000 or whatever. But I was considering that Oakland, less than a decade ago, had the Raiders, the A's, and the Warriors, and now none of those teams play in Oakland. The Warriors moved across the bay to San Francisco, but the other two have left. It is kind of heartbreaking, but if you're going to Sacramento, I guess the time to go is opening day, because at least you'll have the fanfare as much as you can in a place like that. I feel bad for
the Oakland fans. I feel very bad for the Oakland fans. Like, I feel for them not having that professional sports tie. And like that's some really good teams in Oakland. There's some really good history to the Oakland A's. And so I feel bad for that. But I don't want people to crud on Sacramento. Like, I do think Sacramento is going to be a good place to go play for 3 days. Like, it's not going to be as brutal as people think it's going to be. And I'm gonna also say this. You say that like the fanfare is going to wear off. I don't think so. I think they're getting 15,000 every day.
Don't crud on Sacramento. Do not crud on Sacramento.
Don't crud on them.
I'm clipping this, and when in August there are 4,000 people at Sacramento to watch them take on some other bad AL West team, I'm going to remind you of this, because there's no way that stadium's going to do well in August.
Dakota?
Well,
when the Iowa Cubs went to Sacramento, there was 10,000 people crowd there.
I don't know if it was 10,000. I don't know if I can get on board with 10. You could have got me at like 6. 10,000's a lot. I don't know if minor league stadiums even hold 10. I am curious. That's what I was going to say. I haven't looked up anything of like what it looks like now, but I am actually excited to see what it looks like, because they had to have made like obviously renovations and changes. So I'm kind of curious to hear from you, Ian, once you go there and see it like on TV, what it looks like.
I'm super excited to talk about it because I love weird sports stories like that.
Yeah.
I think it was super interesting when the Coyotes played at like Arizona State in like a 3,000 seat arena. Like, that's a really cool and unique sports story, but it's not good for the local fan base, and it's not good for the sport that the Rays are going to be playing at Steinbrenner Field, and now they've canceled that stadium expansion plan in St. Pete. So long-term future there seems doubtful. The A's long-term future in Las Vegas is up in question. There are two teams playing in minor league stadiums is not good for the sport long-term. I think it's interesting as a story, and I'm excited to talk about it, but I don't think it's great for the sport, is what I would say.
Sacramento River Cats Park, now I don't know what it was formerly. 2005 did an expansion, to get it to 10,624 permanent seats.
Are you going to make me look up how many were there?
And then they have grass berms in both right and left field. Total capacity about 15,000. So
Box scores exist, Ian. We'll go start pulling 2019 Iowa Cubs box scores, and I don't think you're going to like what you're going to see in Sacramento.
Dude, I'm going to do that. I'll be the research team.
I hope I'm wrong, but I just don't remember it being that full.
It also depends when did you guys go, because like as someone who worked in minor league sports, you're living for the weekends. You're trying to get your Friday, Saturday, Sunday crowds, and you're trying to get through in the middle of the week.
I want to say we went on a weekend, but it was so
Don't start
long.
making excuses now.
It was 2019. It was so long ago.
Don't start making excuses now, Tom. We went in June 15th. Who knows what the date was or what day of the week was? We had 12,000, and then we had 12,434, if you're wondering. And then we had 9,000, then we had 6 and 6.5.
Honestly, the fact we had 12 is crazy.
You guys started on a Saturday there, and you played till Tuesday. So as I said, you'll see those weekend crowds pretty big. During the middle of the week, tougher to draw in minor league baseball.
Monday, Tuesday, 6,000 for a minor league game, not that bad. And I'm just gonna say, I'm looking at the numbers because I got attendance for all the games from the old Iowa Cubs. That's the biggest number. Round Rock had 12,477. This is 12,434. That's the biggest number I'm seeing for the old Iowa Cubbies. So,
hey, I'm rooting for it. Like I said, I think it'll be cool. So you go Arizona, then Sacramento, and then Chicago.
Yeah, Arizona.
We have 4 opening days this year.
Well, yeah, 8 if you count the 4 of them you did in Tokyo.
Yeah. But yeah, so we have 4 in Arizona, and then straight to Sacramento for 3, and then we get an off day back home before we play.
What day do you open up in Chicago?
I think the Friday the 4th.
It's a Friday 120. I think it's the first time in like the last 30 years the Cubs have opened, or maybe just the second time that they've opened Friday 120, which will be awesome.
April 4th. Oh. If I didn't have work, I was going to say, so you want to maybe you get me first pitch. I don't know.
Hey, it's great time.
The thing is, I know you could get me first pitch. I would never, ever go out there. They'd be like, hey, look at this guy. He didn't make it. So we're going to give him a pity throw.
Oh, host of the Compound Podcast.
That's what it'd be quoted as. But in my head, I'd be like, this guy stinks.
Let me be clear. I will take Dakota's first pitch. If he declines, I'm happy to go out there.
I will let Tom do it. I don't want it. I want Tom to do it. And I'll cheer from like the foul line.
You know what I will be doing on all those.
You ever thrown a first pitch? I've thrown 2 in my life. You don't want to bounce it. So my first one was real high. The second one I felt good about. But, it's like you go from the mound, you go from front of the mound, what's allowed. It's a lot more that goes into it.
The chances that I'd hop up there and try to throw like a change up and be like, hey, Counsel, you see that? I can give you an inning. Let me know. Like it's still in there. Just let me know, man.
You know what we'll be doing on all the opening days?
Wearing your Bruce Bolts.
I'll be wearing my Bruce Bolts. BruceBolt.us. I go to BruceBolt.us. Get your batting gloves. Get your arm sleeves. Get your protective gear, elbow guard, shin guard, whatever you need. BruceBolt.us. I was rocking some red elephant prints. I don't know if you saw those. Rocking red elephant prints in Tokyo. Yeah, they were cool. They did like red elephant print with a gold Bruce Bolt and like some navy inlets because it's like matched the Team Japan uniforms for the Japanese series. So they were super cool, and I appreciate our friends at Bruce Bolt doing that. So BruceBolt.us, go check it out. Can
I ask you one more question about Japan before we switch
please.
off the topic? You talked about the differences in the game. Did you have any preconceived notions about playing those Japanese teams? And when you played them, did you see any things that kind of surprised you or were different than you might have expected?
Yes, I did. I was really surprised by the infielders' actions were so smooth. Like the infielders were really, really good. Everybody's throwing motion, like they all throw like these super true 4 seams across the diamond. And I was just super impressed with the infielders' actions. I was looking for the F1 race the morning of our night game. Couldn't find it on Japanese TV. Not really easy. But I ended up watching most of that Dodger game, the noon Dodger game against Hanshin, and it was fun to watch that on TV during the day. So yeah, I was super impressed by the infield actions. I was impressed the pitch mixes from guys. I think the splitter is a big pitch there, like change up splitter. It was like everybody kind of threw a little bit of a different one. We faced this one lefty. He was throwing like 88, but then he had this like crazy, like it looked really weird the way he held the baseball, but just like a absolute like floater change up splitter thing. Like I was impressed by the caliber of baseball, and I was expecting the fans to be into it, but I was amazed by just how much they cared.
Was there a moment when you were playing, when you were, whether there's introduced, or was there one moment where you were like, wow, this place is going nuts, and this is like, as you said, a once in a lifetime experience that you'll remember?
Yeah, I a lot of times, especially during the exhibition games, when I'd run out to left field, the fans would be just like waving. And they were always very appreciative if I would like give them a wave or yeah, I thought that was really cool. I told you about the sign thing. When I saw the signs, I was like pretty blown away. Yeah, I really in those two exhibition games, I really just tried to take it in. And I tried to like really embrace all of that.
Well, and that's what thing like you said, the talent level over there, like the guys that come over to the MLB were like superstars in Japan, and they come over and they're like still like stars to superstars in America. So it's like
Yeah.
their best players are coming over, but they still have a lot of very, very good players playing in their league, obviously.
Yeah, I think we've seen guys come over and be average to above average players. I think we've seen some guys come over and not quite be as good. And we've seen guys come over and be absolute superstars. So I think one of the other things I was really impressed by is like their hitters, they were on heaters. Like I kind of thought that like 96 to like 100 would be like just a lot of velocity that they're not seeing every day. And they were on heaters. Like I think somebody had double off maybe Palencia like he was throwing 100 and he got behind an account. Like dude did not miss the 2-0 heater. Like I was pretty impressed that they were on the velocity. I think the off speed stuff, like just 90 plus mile an hour sliders, are kind of not as common, or like the 85 mile an hour like downer curveball is like not as common. So the off speed I think gave them a little bit of trouble, but like they were on the fastball, which both those teams, and that I was pretty impressed by that. Which I thought I kind of had the opposite thought, where I thought that like the really high velocity heaters were going to be tough. I was just impressed about just the caliber of the game in total.
One thing we talked about last week too, and I do want to correct ourselves. We talked about where else they could play. We mentioned that they didn't play the Dominican Republic. They did play last year a series in the Dominican Republic, the Red Sox during spring training. But would there be any place now? You've played London. You've played. We talked about all the places played. Is there another place? Obviously, you've been very lucky. If there's one more place that you'd want to go, is there another place where you'd like? I'd love to see a series, whether you're playing in it or not, somewhere else.
I have my guess for what you're going to say, and I'll tell you if I'm right or wrong, but you give your answer.
Yeah, I mean they've done Puerto Rico, they've done DR, they've done Mexico, Colombia. Our friends Barcelona in Colombia.
Ooh.
That would be cool.
In a Parsley rum shank going in the crowd.
Yeah.
Oh, the electric.
I'm trying to think of some other places that would be really cool. I think if we keep, I would love to see them continue to go back to Tokyo. Maybe it does like the Tokyo Dome is obviously like the most historic and probably makes the most sense. I think they could probably go to other parts of Japan too. And I think Korea was an important one to do. I think Australia
There it
they did
is.
that a
That's
few
what I was
years
gonna
ago.
say. Oh,
Did
did
do
they?
Australia not too long ago?
Yeah, I believe one of the years they opened up in Australia. I think it was
Oh,
18
they
or 19.
did. I completely forgot. I
Think it was the
mind-hold
Dodgers.
that. I don't even remember that. But that's what I said that last week, and I was like, I feel like Australia. We said it last week. Like anywhere you go, they don't have like the MLB there ever. So like it's gonna be crazy. Like you could pick a country and like you're gonna sell out because people are gonna be like, this doesn't happen ever. So like it's gonna be packed. It's gonna be like a sick event. You'll get a great turnout. The media will love it. So I agree. Like they need to keep doing it year after year, like finding different or continuing to go back to Tokyo, like finding good markets to go to.
2014, by the way, the Dodgers played the
2014, yeah.
Diamondbacks
Oh,
in
see,
Australia. So
that's a
kind of
fake
time,
memory.
been 10 years. It might be time for another one.
There
Yeah,
we go.
I think the WBC has been so good for the international game, and I think the more that we can tap into the WBC, some of the teams that are playing well in the WBC and like making it into that kind of final pool, like if we can keep going into those countries and playing big league games, like it's a big part of continuing to grow. And I think just the market in Japan right now is so hot. Like it makes so much sense for us to keep going back there and keep expanding on just how much there is a love for baseball there.
I just thought of a question. Are you someone like you have 3 gold gloves, 1-time All-Star? Are you someone that like going into a season like makes up goals or like writes down goals of like whether it be obviously everyone's like win the World Series, like that's top of the list, of course. But like, are you someone that goes in of like, I want a 900 OPS plus or a whatever 120 OPS plus this year? Like, do you ever do that, or is it kind of play my best, do what I do, and kind of like let the chips fall where they may?
Like every year, there's definitely some like markers that make me feel like successful. I think like 20 homers is one that I've done a few times in my career that is like, for me, playing at Wrigley, like 20 homers is kind of like I want to hit at least 20 every year. The doubles, like extra base hits, like I've had 60 extra base hits a few years in a row now. Like that's an important number to me. But really, it's like I want to go out there, I want to drive in runs, like I want to produce. Maybe be a little bit different hitting the leadoff spot all year, but like I don't ever put like statistical goals down because they fluctuate so much and they're so out of your control. So for me, like it's so much about like I really want to be on my process every day. Like my routine, like I want my routine to be dialed every single day. And like I want to make sure that like every day I'm going through my routine. I'm doing my posture for the 30 minutes when I get to the ballpark. Like I'm doing all that stuff right. And like I'm staying on top of like my outfield stuff, like that first day of the series, doing my program. Like I just want to be really convicted to all of that stuff all year, and maintain my confidence. Like I think that's what helps me maintain my confidence. And so like I want to be on that stuff and being like confident every time I show up to the ballpark. And like I just really believe that all that other stuff is going to fall into line, and like being healthy and being available for me is what matters. And so like that routine is the most important part of that.
That was one I thought of like, obviously health things will happen with different players or whatever, but I feel like the biggest one, especially for you now at this point in your career, and like I feel like a ton of guys have this goal, is like it's such a cool thing to say you played 162. So like if you're, God willing, stay healthy for the whole season, like to play 162, I feel like is one of the coolest things guys can do nowadays.
Yeah, 100%. And like you can't control if you get banged up, you go off the wall, something happens, you need a day.
You get hit
Like
with
my goal,
98 on the wrist, like it happens.
Yeah, like my goal is to play like 155 plus. And so like I like all of those things I have to do to be able to stay healthy for the full year. Like it's all part of the process. And so like I'm out there, like I'm going to put up those numbers. And the most important part of like doing that in the big leagues is like you got to stay confident for 162 games, which is it's such a grind and so challenging. But yeah, that's the biggest piece of it.
For sure.
So we got the Houston Astros, our friends at Yes, who just joined us on the pod. There's 2 roster spots, kind of like 5 as we record this. There's like 5 guys fighting for 2 spots. But there's been a lot of talk about Cam Smith, who the Cubs traded for Kyle Tucker, and if he's going to make the opening day roster. Been raking in spring. Zach loves him.
Zach really praised him last week and talked about his work ethic and his mindset. And there's been a lot of smoke around. Well, obviously, by the time people hear this, they'll probably know whether or not he's made the roster. We're recording this before they make that decision. But the fact that a guy who's played 32 career minor league games and at this time last year was at Florida State has a chance to be in the opening day lineup for the Astros, or at least on the bench, is kind of incredible and speaks to how highly that organization views him.
Yeah, and I there's been some talk on the line about just like if it's good for his development or if it's not good for his development, if you're rushing him, regardless of his spring training stats. One of the things just to keep in mind is there's the thing called PPI picks. So basically what it is if you have a player that is in the top 100 prospects and he opens on the roster with the team,
which Cam Smith is a top 100 prospect.
Yes. The team, if that player was to win the Cy Young, or not win the Cy Young, he could win the Cy Young, but if he was top 3 in MVP or Cy Young, obviously Cam Smith not going to win the Cy Young rank, but top 3 in the MVP, or if they win the Rookie of the Year, the team would then get a comp pick, so just past the first round. So an example was Julio Rodriguez broke with the Mariners. He ended up winning the Rookie of the Year, and so the Mariners got like the 29th overall pick in the draft for that. Gunnar Henderson, Corbin Carroll, I think both did this with the Orioles and the D-backs in the last couple of years, picking up a comp pick for their team, which is a big deal. I think teams value that comp pick so highly because you get that person in your organization. You have 6 years of control. It really provides surplus value for the team if they get that pick right. So front offices are really valuing that. So if Cam Smith has a chance to debut with the team, like I think they're viewing Cam Smith, I think most people are, as like at some point he's probably going to be up on that roster this year if he's as good as he's been during spring training, or like if he's the player they think he is. So if you wait until June to call him up, you don't get to take advantage of that. Whereas if he's up on the team from opening day and he's a good player, goes and wins Rookie of the Year, you get that pick. If they call him up and for opening day and he struggles and they have to send him back down, he wasn't going to earn Rookie of the Year anyway. It doesn't like he can go back down and have that development. So I think that's like the front office weight is like that pick is really valuable. It gives them a chance to capitalize on that, and I think that's isn't really being talked about online regarding Cam Smith.
Do you think that I like that like idea or like that concept? Do you think that almost not stunts someone's growth, but kind of pushes them? Maybe not saying Cam Smith isn't ready. He by every means seems ready. But do you think if anything that might push guys to be put on the big league roster before they've had a little bit more time to develop?
I think the one risk of it is I'll say the risk and then I'll say the upsides. I think the one risk of it is if you get to the big leagues too early and you fail,
that's going to stick with you. Like that's going to be tough to just wipe away.
Part, yeah, that confidence part and going back to AAA and getting confident again and coming back up and having the success is a challenge. I think guys that are going to be, guys are going to be successful are going to be successful, but the positives I think outweigh that, which is you get guys into the big leagues sooner. You do get that full year of service, whereas in a lot of cases for whether it was Chris Bryant got called up a day after he was eligible for a full season. So instead of getting 6 years of control, the team got 7 years of control. Like
it's trying to counteract that, right? I mean, basically,
trying to counteract
one is, as you said, it's the most obvious example of the Cubs clearly were like, we're just going to wait.
No, Tom, that they just didn't think he was ready till that day. That's how
he needed to work on his defense.
He had to go to Iowa to work on his defense till the day after he couldn't earn the service time. And then all of a sudden his defense suddenly got so much better that day.
It's well documented that he had to work on his defense for a couple of days, but he's all right. He's making a lot of money. It is I think it's a good thing in that respect that guys are getting a chance to get a full year of service. The other part of that rule is that if you finish in the top 2 of Rookie of the Year, you get a full year of service no matter what, no matter when you get called up. So if the team feels like, hey, this guy's going to come up and rake and be in the top 2 of the Rookie of the Year, like we have to give him a full year of service anyway. Might as well have him on the team. So there's some incentive to get guys up, and I think that's a good thing. And hopefully, if Cam Smith does make this roster, he has a ton of success and doesn't look back.
Yeah, and I definitely like it. That is the only like qualm I have of like you push that guy, he fails, and it's like, all right, well, good luck. Like go back to AAA and kind of figure it out.
5 games in Tennessee. That's it.
And there's a lot to be said. Like some people just never fail. Like some people just make it and they make it all the way and it's easy. Very few. There is something to be said of like he hasn't really failed yet. So like, do you want the first time he fails to be possibly in Houston? I don't know. But I do like the idea of making teams kind of have to push their guys a little faster because they get incentivized by it. So you aren't holding guys down, waiting for a certain date before you can call them up to get an extra year of control. So I do like the initiative and like that idea. I just hope, and again, he could go up and rake the entire season and be Rookie of the Year and none of this matters anyway. And it's like, well, great call. He should have been in the big leagues.
But it's hard to imagine that at some point, right? At some point he's going to have a slump. And the question is, do you want that slump to happen in Round Rock or Corpus Christi, or do you want that slump to happen under the lights in Houston? Whereas you guys said, if that slump happens at the start of the season and now all of a sudden you're back to, AAA, how does that affect you mentally? Cam Smith, it seems like from what Zach said last week, feels like one of those guys that wouldn't be an issue, which is maybe the reason they're willing to risk this. But it's very interesting in the context of that conversation we had about development a few weeks ago, where it feels like teams have gotten more and more cautious with developing guys and pushing them. This is the opposite. This might be one of the most aggressive pushes we've seen in the last 25 years of prospect development if he makes the opening day roster.
And Ian, wouldn't you say like Zach does speak very highly of like his process and like maybe it wouldn't get him down too bad, but from experience, Ian, unfortunately, it never feels good to get sent down. Like no matter how big you could be the number 1 prospect in the world, like you'll be back in the big leagues, but like that hurts no matter what to be like, hey, like we're sending you backwards. Like we know you're up here in the big leagues, but like we're gonna send you down.
And I think struggling in the big leagues is really hard. Like it's really hard. And like even 9 years into my career, or 8 years, like I struggled mightily for the first 2 months last year. Like it's a hard game. Like you're gonna have patches that are really tough every season. They're gonna happen, and like they're hard to deal with no matter what. But I do feel like to get to that place where you're an everyday big leaguer or you believe in yourself enough, like you're going to have to fail in the big leagues at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's going to
And then
happen.
and then when you fail, you figure out how to like deal with that failure / come back from it and be like, all right, we need to get back to this routine and like it's going to be okay.
Yep.
I don't know. Did you guys see what Kobe Mayo, who's the Orioles' #2 overall prospect, said? He got optioned to AAA, and he said he was in a lose-lose situation and got kind of killed in the media for it. But I thought it was the type of honesty that I wish we saw more out of players, because it's 100% true. He's a guy that has had it above a 900 OPS the last 2 years of AAA. He's just kind of blocked, unfortunately. He doesn't really have a spot right now. The Orioles are so deep and have such a great system and a great team that there's not really a major league spot for him. But what he was basically saying is, if I go back to AAA and I go to Norfolk and I hit, have a 700 sub 700 OPS, people will be like, oh, he's checked out. He's frustrated. He's not developing anymore. But if he goes there and hits, has a 1 dot, people are going to be like, oh, that's what he's supposed to do. So there's no scenario for a guy like that where he can win right now. I understood completely what he was saying. And I kind of thought all the media blowback was very frustrating, because it's like, this is what the kind of conversations I wish we could have more of. And the second someone's honest, then everything goes out the window. And now we can't have any more honesty.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because Ian can't say it / probably shouldn't say it, but you can't be honest with the media because people don't want to hear, like, people want to hear the politically correct answers of like, oh, like this is a great opportunity for me to go to Norfolk and get some work. And it's like, no, I'm pissed. This sucks. Like, I wanted to be in Baltimore. Now I'm going to go down there and whatever I do, it's lose. I agree, Tom. Like, I love when like coaches or players give honest answers. It's just typically there's always going to be blowback on it. And that's kind of just the unfortunate part of like media.
I think what he said the next day was good too, where he said like, I didn't do enough in spring training. And like,
Yeah.
I thought that honesty the next day made sense too. It's like, if he would have said that day one, like if he would have said like, hey, I didn't do enough during spring training, this is a tough situation. And like, I'm going to go out there and, if he would have said the whole thing about the tough situation and how both sides of it aren't any good, but like, all I can do is go down there and dominate, like force their hand. Like, I think if you put both of his answers together from the first day when he was really frustrated and the second day when he had time to think about it a little bit, I think it all comes together and makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I don't think when I got sent down, I didn't think I talked to the media for like 3 or 4 days, which is a good thing because I don't know how that would have gone.
That's for the
I
best.
don't even know what I would have said.
I don't think I spoke to you either, but I think just from seeing you, that's a good idea that you didn't talk to the media.
Yeah, I don't know what I would have said. I would have said I would have said
you wouldn't have said anything crazy, but you probably would have voiced some frustration.
I imagine as a journalist who's been the other side of that a couple times, I think it would have been very short answers for me. I'm not imagining a lot of verbose language being used. A lot of just, I got to go to Iowa and do what I got to do.
Well, and that's when you get guys like that after like a bad situation and they're pissed off and like you ask them a question as a reporter. If for even the littlest thing, they think it's a dumb question, that it's like you're going to get a 1-word answer and they're like, I'm done talking to you. So that probably would have been a lot of what it was, Tom, if Ian was like, dumb question, not answering.
It would have been awkward for everyone. Everyone was probably glad. The reporters were probably glad they didn't have to talk to Ian, because that's also like on the other side, like we understand that like Ian's a human being who's going through a tough time, but it's like your job as the journalist to go over and ask the question that's on everyone's mind. But obviously you don't really want to go ask it, and he doesn't really want to answer it. So in some ways, probably better for everyone just to maybe not have those press conferences.
I could see the conversation going over. A reporter goes to Ian and says like, are you frustrated with the decision to send you down? And he just like stares at him and it's like, what do you think? Like, no, I'm happy. I'm excited. Yay.
Yeah, this is great.
I love Des Moines. Des Moines' my favorite place to go.
Des Moines' a great city. Don't you talk bad about Des Moines, Tom. I love Des Moines. I do love Des Moines.
I was just talking to somebody the other day about Des Moines. Des Moines' a great
I love
city.
it there. I think it's a great place.
Can we get the people that are Sloan screen time?
Sure can.
Sloan is the world's leading manufacturer of commercial plumbing systems. The company is at the forefront of the green building movement, provides smart, sustainable, and hygienic restroom solutions by manufacturing water-efficient products, including flushing meters, faucets, sink systems, soap dispensers, and fixtures for commercial, industrial, and institutional markets worldwide. To learn more, visit sloan.com. Last 2 games at Sloan. Better get out to Sloan Park. See Monday, Tuesday. Last 2 games. What are your screen times?
6 hours, 3 minutes. It's a Sunday. March Madness doesn't count.
6 hours, 19 minutes.
Ooh.
2 hours, 14 minutes.
Congrats, Ian. Also, we didn't even talk about it, and this is where we needed Zach and Scott this week. But Spartans tonight. Spartans tip in hour 20, just so everyone knows if they lose tonight's New Mexico, you'll never hear my voice on these waves again, ever. That'll be
Big
it for
game.
me. I'm retiring.
Parties.
Home Sparty. Home nah. Go green, go white.
That's episode 251 of the Compound Podcast. Go to Parse, go to Benny's, get your Parse, or go to Parse. Whatever you need to do. Get your Parse rum.
Sure.
We will see you next week.